Hello, everyone. On this lesson, we're going to do a flat landscape abstract painting. I know that sounds kind of weird, but as you see me, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. What I mean flat. I'm going to draw a kind of simple, basic horizontal line. I apologize for my arm kind of being in the way. I'll back up a little bit later. You'll see the full outline of the drawing in a few minutes. But basically, I'm just using horizontal lines, diagonal lines to draw my landscape. And I'm using the brush to kind of just draw my lines, and I'm using ultramarine blue. Excuse me for the beeping in the background on my phone. Cut it off right quick. But um, I'm going to divide each section that's created by the lines in different colors. I'm going to use some bold, strong colors. Um, and the reason why I call this particular lesson flat because I'm not doing any value, any mixing, too much. It's going to use basically using the paint straight out the tube. So, but it'll come out looking good when I finish. I'm going to you can use turquoise blue like I'm using for your sky, and it's going to look real good when it up against this nice strong reds and orange. So here I'm using a medium-sized palette knife. I'm going in a up and down motion, and I'm leaving the texture just as it is. So I'm going to pretty much fill up this whole top space, and it's going to be represent my sky. I'm taking my time on this particular lesson. I'm not trying to paint fast. Just kind of filling in this area that's going to be my sky. Because this particular painting is such is so geometric, that's why I'm kind of painting a nice even uh, up and down motion. Get some more paint. And again, I didn't add any medium to this particular paint that I'm using for this lesson. I'm just using paint straight out the tube. This particular paint that I'm using is a fairly student grade paint. It's not heavy body, but you can still see a nice grade of texture um, with this paint. There I have my sky. Now I'm going to cover in this horizon line. Here I'm going to use like a primary blue for my horizon line, that little skinny line going across. Um, this can be represented as water. It can be represented as mountains, but I just kind of want to divide the land from the sky, and I'm going to use a particular medium ultramarine sort of primary blue for this particular section of the painting. And I'm just going in filling in that little space you see there. And you can do the same as well. If you have a nice medium-sized palette knife, you kind of just fill that in. The particular palette knife that I'm using, it has a pointed tip, so which is perfectly fine to fill in that small, skinny space. A little paint fell down in the middle right there, but that's okay. You can always come back in and clean that up. Now I'm going to add my cadmium red, and this red is pretty strong too. It looks good up against that blue and that turquoise. And again, I'm not mixing any color. I'm not adding any value, dark to light. That's why I call this particular lesson flat. But again, you can still kind of get an idea of the landscape and of the dynamics from the different shapes, geometric shapes within the painting, making it kind of like an abstract landscape painting. Getting that nice and clean right there, all the way across. Even though the blue is still wet, it's okay. When I apply the red against the blue, I kind of like that blue and the red mixed in together. I don't want to mix it in with all my red, but a little bit is okay. So if your red touches the blue, is perfectly fine. As you can see, I'm going out of the lines as well, but that's fine as well. One thing I like about acrylic paint, you can kind of easily paint over it as opposed to oil paint. Now I'm going to add this cadmium orange. Again, I'm still using the student grade paint, so it's fairly thick. It's not real thick, so it's actually easy to move and manipulate. I could have put that orange at the top, but I want some green to kind of be at the top, so I want to use that top space, empty space, put some green there. But that blue up against that red, also kind of offsetting that turquoise at the top, looks good. Now you can do this particular painting actually with some neutral color as well. I am primarily fond of bright, bold colors. That's who I am. That's part of my culture. I just love bright colors. So you can do this with neutral colors, where you have some browns, raw sienna, some other things, kind of um, have that kind of play with each other. Let those colors play with each other. Fill that in pretty good. For my green here, I didn't have a green, so I mixed some of the primary blue with the cadmium yellow to get my green. Again, I'm kind of just filling in those the paint, not mixing in, not adding value or shading, so to speak. If you want to really learn how to control the paint with a palette knife, I think this lesson be a perfect lesson for you. Yeah, I'm kind of filling in this line with the yellow. I could have made this line more wider as it came down to the bottom, making it look like a road. Um, Probably should have, but I like it. Still as good as it is now. I'm using the edge of my palette knife to kind of get in those small areas to create that thin line with the yellow paint. And now I'm going to add some light blue. Here I'm using ultramarine blue with some white and to give it this nice cool blue. I thought about putting in that section over to the right at the bottom and let the this section be green, but I just love that blue, so I wanted to put more blue in this space right here. Just imagine this painting being a large painting, like a 24 by 36. I think it'll be pretty cool. So here I'm going to add some more green just to kind of give you that land feel, to kind of help it make it look like there's land, and the top part is sky with the turquoise. Probably could make the green go all the way across and move that blue out the way at the bottom. But I just like that blue so much, I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna add some of that blue that I have still on my palette to kind of put up here at the top. Just kind of break up some of that. Just kind of show different variations of the different blues, that turquoise and that primary blue. This can kind of represent mountains all the way in the background, So here I'm going to use some white for my clouds. As you can see, I'm painting very slow, very controlled. Um, Not real loose on this particular painting, but I'm not very meticulous either with this paint. I'm not real tight. So just kind of letting my palette knife just kind of um, feel its way on top of the paint. Now I'm going to get some more paint, and I'm going to get some white and put it right here. Just kind of break up that line between the blue and the orange. I think this will look good with a nice black frame as well. Say if you have two or three paintings like this, and it looks real good on the wall with all three, two or three paintings on the wall with that nice black frame. This can be a great gift for a friend or a wedding gift for someone if you do work on this particular lesson, or just keep it for yourself. This side particular canvas board is actually a 11 by 14, so I think it'll be a nice size painting, especially when you have a nice thick black frame to go around it. And now I have that orange and green kind of next to each other. I'm going to break that up with just a little bit of that turquoise. And again, I'm using the edge of my palette knife to draw my turquoise line. And put a little bit up here. Looks good against that red and that blue. And again, all the paint is still wet, so you can kind of play around with it a little bit. And that should be it. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so you guys can see the texture. And that's it. Hope this lesson was helpful, and would love for you guys to try it out. Thanks so much. Remember, just paint, enjoy, have fun.